Hi everyone, MJ here. Let me just adjust this a little bit. There you go. I'm in the car. Uh, Similar to where I was a couple of weeks ago. I've been broadcasting from the studio mostly, and I'm just wearing my mask because I'm outside. I'm in the car, so I can take it off. I want to show you though. I got a little thing inside there. Hey, J-boy, fist bump to you. Got a little like a cage in there that prevents the mask from, you know, getting smushy and stuff. How's it going? So my wife's at the bank, and I haven't really been on that much. I usually stream on Thursday. And Bernardo, fist bump to you. I wasn't on last night. I just have a lot of things going on, and yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I got some hair wax in it, and the funny thing I was mentioning this before. I don't know if you guys can see. I know my hair is thinner than it would normally be, but there's a lot more black in it. My daughter noticed I got a lot of black hair coming back in, so that's good. I'm gonna get to the COVID-19 update just a second. I haven't eaten anything, not one bit of solid food since Sunday night. I'm going on a massive fast. I don't care how much it takes, how long it takes, how much exercise it takes. I have a specific goal, and I'm either gonna, reverse aging. Well, I did work on that. I mean, imagine how bad I would look, J-boy, if I tried to maximize my aging. But anyway, yeah. So I'm on this fast, and I'm resetting my blood sugar and everything and so forth. And so it's been raining a lot here. Now today we got some good news. Let's get into to today's report. Today we've got some good news. 76 local cases. Now, unfortunately, the column, the orange number on the right, 5, that's the number of deaths. But if you look at the graphs, they're going down, so that's good. And infection rates are going way down. I think they said next month anyway, they're going to review the level 3 procedures and see if they can lighten up on those a little bit or not. And they also said that they're tightening the borders, okay, because they don't want the Delta variant in. They don't want the Delta variant in. Now, Japan just gave Taiwan a lot of doses, and they just committed to another 1 million doses of AstraZeneca, and the United States committed to 750,000, I believe, Moderna. But no matter what, only 7% of Taiwan's population has been vaccinated for COVID-19. This place, Taiwan, has a robust healthcare system. Got national healthcare, and vaccinations are very common. I've been vaccinated for I get flu every year, and hepatitis, and yeah, I did hear about it. But I also heard some experts say that it's our own fault by making messenger RNA vaccines that make the body produce spike proteins, and the spike protein is too small of a chunk to make an antibody out of, and therefore it's too narrow. But what do I know? I just know that there are people in my family who have said that they won't take the vaccine because they're afraid. They're afraid because, of the deaths. And it sure seems like something weird's going on. I don't know what it is. I don't claim to be that smart. But I did see a report from the government of Australia that would tend to indicate that the vaccines kill more people than the virus. That's, like I said, people a lot smarter than me. But I wanted to let you know about what's going on in Taiwan. And Taiwan has its own vaccine that's supposed to roll out in they said in August, and in the phase 2 trials they said it was over 90% effective, and the effectivity is broader because it's not an mRNA RNA, yeah, an mRNA vaccine. It's based on a different type of technology. And so there you go. It's not about vaccine, J-Boy. It's about that one. That vaccine, that one. So you gotta make the distinction. I don't really want to get into it, but if I were you, I would look at what the Freedom of Information requested and received reports from Japan. That's okay. From Japan and from Pfizer themselves on where the spike proteins actually concentrate in the body. They concentrate in 2 specific areas of the body, and it's very suspicious. I don't want to get into it. See, here's a problem. You get into this stuff, and everybody goes, conspiracy theory. Well, just because it's a theory doesn't mean it isn't a conspiracy. I mean, people call evolution the theory of evolution, and there's really no proof that evolution is real either. There's a bigger argument for creation based on reality. And so, yeah, and there are conspiracies. There just are. I just know one thing. I know that information is being suppressed, and and I have never ever felt before like I had to be careful, what I was gonna say. And it's not because it was profane or it was libel or anything. Just because somebody sitting behind a desk in some Silicon Valley computer, has been told by their boss to kill this kind of thinking. And I just don't think that social media platforms, I don't think that's their job. Anyway, I'm sitting here in the rain, and it's actually not a bad day. We went from having a drought. The drought was bad, and they started water rationing. They're just starting it, like they were going to start it like the next day, and then some rains came from a typhoon that came up from the Philippines, and now we've had about 5 days of rain. There's a beautiful strawberry moon, full moon. Haven't seen it yet. Probably not going to see it. It's going to be a waning gibbous before I see it. Now you might want to look up waning gibbous just to make sure you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, to reiterate the point, like I said, I've been vaccinated with everything here that hepatitis and whatnot, and sometimes in Asia we have diseases that you have to be inoculated for that you wouldn't run into like in North America, like dengue, something like that, And so, yeah. Let me just say this. Dark Horse Podcast, YouTube. Okay? Look for the one that says clips. Dark Horse Podcast clips. Just get an education from the people who invented the technology and who use the technology on a daily basis and who study the technology and what it's doing, and just make up your own mind. But remember, these things are personal decisions, and it's funny because this is another thing you can't talk about. People who are vaccinated are really militant about it. I've noticed this. They're telling other people, you got to do this, you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do that. You know something? I got fire insurance on my house, but I don't insure my neighbor's house across the street. If he wants protection from fire, then he has to get insurance, right? If my house catches on fire and some of it goes over, to his house, well, he better have insurance, and vice versa. So if I decide that for one reason or another, maybe I installed a fire suppression system, or maybe my house is made out of concrete, It doesn't have anything in it that's going to burn. For whatever reason, if I choose not to insure my house against fire, that's my choice. So if my next door neighbor's house catches on fire and embers blow over and they fall on the roof of my house, well, he's not going to insure me either. These things are personal decisions, and anybody who wants to get a vaccination, go ahead. It's fine with me. And whether I get one or not, well, the fact is, right now, I can anyway. But we have the Taiwan National Healthcare System produced vaccine coming up, and even more importantly than that, there's a new medicine that the Taiwanese had developed. It does surprisingly sound a lot like a patentable version of another medicine that was widely used in India and Peru and South Africa. And in addition to that, our national healthcare system has also authorized traditional Chinese medicine. So there's a traditional Chinese medicine treatment for COVID-19, and you can go to they call it in Chinese they call it Zhongyao, which means Chinese medicine. So you can go to a Zhongyao practitioner and get Chinese medicine for COVID-19, and it's covered on the national health insurance system. So we actually have 3 different types of treatment that we can get here in Taiwan, and that's not including the anti-parasitic medication that also has significant antiviral properties. So, yeah. Now, here's what came out recently. This is Prism Live Studio mobile. You can now set a background chroma key color, like for a green screen. That came out in Android, and I wasn't expecting that because Kenrod reported that the other day, and it came out on iOS first. Now, I ran across something today because I have, as you guys know, I have a wide range of interests, and some of them include things like meteorology and so forth. And so I have an app that notifies me of any volcanic activity around the world, and I was reading about a phenomenon called Phoenix clouds, and I've never heard of Phoenix clouds before. What Phoenix clouds are is when a pyroclastic flow goes down, it travels down and it stops. It slows down and stops, and where it stops, clouds will emit from the terminus. And you see that in this picture. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this picture over here a little more so you can see it better. So those are actually what they call Phoenix clouds. And you've seen those before, just never knew what they were called. They're from the end of the flows of lava. And so while I was researching Phoenix clouds, I found some other interesting stuff. Look at this. Somebody made this looks like a meme. This is from a volcano in Iceland, but they said that it's mirroring gods. Let me go over a little bit. That looks like a phoenix in the sky. I mean, look at that. That is just wow. That was pretty interesting. And then I ran across. Sorry. Then I ran across. Let me take these out. I ran across this one, and I thought that was really cool. And that's a round house down there. That almost looks like a Hakka house. That looks more like a stealth bomber, but boy, tell me that doesn't look like some kind of a Thunderbird or something. And then I thought this one was cool too. Really wispy looking, and this looks like I don't know, some kind of bird. And I thought that one was really cool. That does look very much like a huge bird. That's a cloud that I just happened to notice, and that is bizarre. That's not a phoenix cloud. It doesn't look like a bird, but it just looks like something just out of this world, and I thought I would just bring that up. And the last one I want to show you is this one. This one is spectacular. I mean, look at that. That is just wow. All right. So anyway, all right. I've been having trouble with Twitter Live, and I reconnected it, but it's not going to Twitter Live yet. So hopefully the next time that I broadcast with my phone and using Prism Live Studio, I'll have Twitter Live straight out. I have not been broadcasting on Twitter Live from home at all because Prism PC doesn't directly connect with Twitter like the mobile app does, which is hard for me to understand. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a quick update. We're still alive. Everything's okay. I'm just looking around, you know, in the parking lot. And my wife's going to be, she's at the bank. She'll be coming back in a little while. So I will be on. And, yeah, well, you know, the thing is, people are saying, oh, Twitter Live, same as Periscope. No, it isn't. Try to find one. Try to find a broadcast on Twitter Live. It might as well not even save it. It's just, I mean, in the Twitter app, there isn't even a tab for live. It's easier to find live streams on YouTube than it is to find live streams on Twitter. It's a mess. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I just was doing it so that, you know, people who like that interface and are used to it, I just was, you know, was broadcasting there as a courtesy. But I have absolutely, I mean, yeah, I have no fantasies about it being a useful platform at all. But before I go, I want to mention we still have our live streaming technology forum, and I'd like to have you guys join. And every time I do a broadcast, it posts there. It embeds the video, and many of your favorite live streamers are there. We're getting some more. It's slow going. You know, we have a lot of guests. We don't have that many members and that many people posting, but I gotta tell you, sometimes in a 24-hour period, we'll have between 50 and 80 guests browsing. So people are interested in the content, but we'd like to have more content. We would like to have you guys join, because it's not just for people who do the live streaming. It's for people who like to watch live streams. And one of the big, one of the most popular forums is about HAPS. And now they got, $4.7 million. So we'll see what they do with it. They need to get chat replay working. They need to, like, allow people to have green screens. They need much better functionality, because the only thing that HAPS does that's worth anything is allow you to bring people into your stream. And one of the comments that I made today on livestreaming.technology about HAPS, people are asking why are there's so many boring talk shows. It's because there's nothing else you can do. What else can you do? I mean, you can go in the field, and, you know, with your phone and waving around, but, you know, on the playback, you know, the chat isn't even synchronized. So you're hearing the broadcaster commenting on things that you can't really see unless you manually scroll through. It is disappointing. And they said, you know, today that they were going to upgrade the infrastructure and all that. And I know, I wish them well. It's great. I just think that in the live streaming field, I think it's, you know, too little, too late. I think, you know, other people have stepped into the fray and are probably going to be more successful. It's just, it's hard to beat YouTube. And I'm still investigating my own private platform, and that is still doable. It's a matter of how much money do I want to spend into, put into it? And it's not so much the money, it's how much time do I want to invest in it, and what do I have for a return? And you have to think about these things. Yeah, it is. And the no, I hear you. Well, they've been around for a long time, and they only got portrait in the last in the foreseeable past. I mean, this wasn't that long ago, so they were really way behind. And I've used the mobile app, and it's very difficult. It's a nightmare. What they need to do is enable RTMP, because if they would enable RTMP and they would actually have like chat playback or a URL that we could capture for a burn, like I do, right? Then you could just use Prism. That's the way to do it. And Prism actually captures whatever like for example, I could be RTMPing to Restream.io, and Restream.io goes to YouTube and Periscope and Twitch, and I'm already connected to these apps on Prism. I'll still get the chat back from them. Well, they did, and they did miss the opportunity because they were cocky. I mean, I got some emails, and there was a controversy about that. They said, Periscope is dead. Come to Haps. And they were basically fear-mongering. And I'm going to tell you, this ties in very nicely with COVID-19. Any decision that you make based on fear is probably going to be wrong. And, I had a lot of discussions as soon as somebody discovered that URL, in the app code. And we knew that the Periscope app was going to be discontinued. People were scared. They were frightened. Some of the bigger streamers that were talking to me go, well, a lot of us are going to Haps. I go, I'm not going to Haps. I went to YouTube a long time ago. I've been simulcasting. I'm one of the pioneers of simulcasting. I mean, I was doing that 3 or 4 years ago. And so, yeah. And I got this email from Haps about how, don't lose your followers. Come to Haps and we can help you keep your followers and all this stuff. And I let him have it. I have three different Haps channels. And this last email that they sent me, they only sent me email to one of them. It's the one that they don't know that I own. They don't send me any more emails because every time they do, I write them a 3-page letter and call them out on all the crap. They're talking about, Periscope's dead. And I wrote back and I said, Haps is going to be dead too, unless you do the following. And I referenced Broadcast. You guys remember Broadcast? Suddenly I was the biggest broadcaster on Broadcast. What does that tell you? There weren't many people on it, right? Dave, how you doing? Fist bump to you. They invited me to Dubai and that whole thing, and it never happened because at the last minute their investor pulled the plug. Dave, how's it going? Dave had a really nice broadcast this afternoon. And I think my favorite was the wasabi and soy sauce Doritos. That was, wow. That was really cool. I gotta find those. So, yeah, so I got my hair wax in today. I've got the, the Ken Rod's coffee break look going on here. Which I think it's okay. Oh, it's so dry in the car. And the other thing, too, I just shave. When I shave, I got to get right up to my lips, with the razor. And it doesn't, I don't like to shave more than once a week or twice a week at the most, because it just takes so much out of my face, out of my skin. Yeah, it's my pleasure, Dave. And I was using the other channel when I came in, but I switched to Taiwan Live TV. Yeah, I think I have 6 or 5, I can't remember, 5 or 6 YouTube channels too that I do for various things, and some of them I don't have anything on. Others I got like 1 video or 2 videos, something like that. So I just use them, to hold stuff that I'm embedding in other places. But yeah, there you go. So anyway, just to recap today. Well, the only reason I don't have to is because I don't have to report to anybody. So today, 75 cases, 76 cases, all internal, no external, and 5 deaths. That's the tally today. And so, and Japan has committed. Oh, okay. All right, thanks. I appreciate it. Well, it's still new, you know. And Japan committed today and reiterated their friendship with Taiwan by offering another 1 million doses of the AstraZeneca. Boy, that's hard to say. The AZ. So, you know, when times are down, you find out who your friends are. You know what I mean? When you're down, that person who puts the hand out to come pick you up, that's a friend. So, and it's really comical sometimes because China will say something and direct it towards Taiwan to try to get Taiwan to hate Japan too, when it doesn't work, because we love Japan here, man. So another thing came out today on Focus Taiwan is that France, the country of France, has now deemed Taiwan as a green country, which means that Taiwan people will be able to travel freely to and from France now. I mean, right now. So that's pretty good. So even though we have a local outbreak, the number of cases per capita and the spread of the disease is extremely low and slow, and it's going down. So we're actually looking pretty good. So, but yeah, check out livestreaming.technology, because the guys, Dave, I was saying we're talking about HAPS, and one of the discussions today was about HAPS getting an influx of cash, and I made actually a pretty long diatribe about live streaming and how one of the problems, because people are asking, why are there so many boring talk shows on HAPS? And the answer is because you can't do anything else on HAPS. You can invite 6 people, 8 people, whatever it is, and it looks great, but there's no green screens, and so that's about all you can do. You can't capture, the chat, and the chat doesn't play back in sync. So I don't know what the value of a HAPS replay would be. At least this replay, no matter what platform you watch it on, you're going to see this comment, these comments here, and you're going to see them, and that's why I do them. So it is. Well, it all has to do with experience. J-Boy, I mean, you can find conspiracies everywhere if you want, and there are some. But not everything is. Some things are just mistakes. And I'm going to tell you, I said this before, Taiwan does not make disaster movies. I was showing the movie 2012 to Phoenix the other night because she thought it was pretty interesting. That movie would never be made in Taiwan because we have those kinds of things here. We have like landslides where villages go missing and things like that, and earthquakes where buildings fall down and stuff. And another movie that we would never have here is Contagion or Virus or any of those kinds of movies. Outbreak. None of those movies would have been made here in Taiwan, but they're all made in America because you guys hadn't had to deal with that stuff. And so one of the things that I like to do is send people an article from the UK Telegraph, from that publication, and it came out in January, and it was about how Taiwan sent 2 experts to Wuhan in January and got the story, and right from the beginning we did a lockdown. So it is and see, what we're experiencing now in live streaming with mobile phones is what happened about 10 or 15 years ago with home recording. You see, software digital audio workstations. In the old days, people used to come to my studio, big console, big tape machine to make a record. Now they just make records in their bedroom, but the records suck. And if you listen, like Rick Beato talks about this, you listen to the Spotify top 10, what is it? It's beats. Somebody took this loop and they dropped it in and they stretched it. And then they took this VST instrument and they did a little MIDI thing on their keyboard and they copy paste. And they can't really sing, so they use auto-tune. And they get like one section that sounds halfway decent and they just copy paste. And that's today's records. And no wonder it sucks. The reason is the barriers to entering the discipline have been virtually removed. Back in 1996, I said this on this article. You might want to go read this on livestreaming.technology. You might want to go read this. But in 1996, I live streamed a broadcast from our studio of a session that we did, and I had to bring my PC, had to bring my CRT monitor, I had to bring, my camera, my mouse and everything, and then we had to run like a 150-foot piece of Ethernet cable to the back of the studio where the phone interface was so I could call out on my modem. That's where we were. That was before ISDN. That was before cable modems, at least in that area. And so that's what it took to get on the live stream. The live stream on the air, and we were going to do a session like every day for a couple of weeks. So I left my computer there for 5 days, and I didn't have my computer at home because I was not going to drag that back and forth. Now I got a Surface Pro, and I got Prism Live Studio, and I have a USB mic. Man, I could have like broadcast quality 720 or 1080. I could even do 4K broadcasting to a platform like YouTube with a portable computer. And so not only is the financial barrier virtually eliminated because everybody's got one of these now, mobile phone, right? The technological barriers that used to be so difficult are gone too. So remember, the motto of punk rock was anybody can play now. And we found out, yeah, I guess you could call it playing, but not everybody can sing and not everybody can write a hit record. The DAW Bedroom Kitty, same thing. A lot of these home recordists send me tracks to mix in my studio, and they're flabbergasted. How did you get these sounds? Well, it took me 40 years and close to $1 million worth of technology in those days to acquire the ability to do that. And you can't do that on a notebook computer because you don't know how. So there's the discipline too. And so what you got on HAPS is you've got all these people that have talk shows that could never, ever in a billion years have a talk show on a radio network or a television network. Now, I did have a talk show on a national radio network. But there are some live streamers. They're very few. Like we say in Chinese, like we want to show a little bit, we'll do this. That could have a national talk show. Maybe a television show or a radio show. But they don't have access. They don't have the connections. That is a barrier to them getting their own show. Of course, you can always pay for it. But back in the days when I was doing talk radio in the mid-90s, a 1-hour show on the Talk America radio network on Sunday afternoon cost $5,000 US. That would have been 1994. So that, that gives you the scale. So if you're doing a week-long show, you better sell a lot of ads. And so there are a few people that have come out of like the YouTube live streaming and the YouTube videos and so forth. And Natalie Tran is one of them that comes to mind from quite a number of years ago. I haven't seen her in a long time. But some of these people ended up doing some big time things in the quote unquote mainstream media, and that's a good thing. It's a really good thing. All right, I got to say goodbye. You guys take care, and we'll see you. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.